Okay, so the German army has left Niger. Yeah, I know you're probably asking yourself questions. What were the Germans doing in Niger anyway? It's just crazy that all these countries have their military in African nations. This is absolutely absurd. I'm also asking myself the same question. Americans, then French, now the Germans. Well, Niger is doing a tremendous work kicking out all these people out of their land. What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day, but it's kind of cold. I mean, I got a blanket around me. I look like some Southern African people named Basutu. They always wear blankets even when it's very, very hot. Like, yeah, their system is just different. Eh? It could be like 30 degrees Celsius. I don't know how you call that in Fahrenheit, but you can translate. They be on, yeah, just like this with thick blankets. Part of the culture. They respect the culture. Anyway, it's kind of cold today, but I got my glasses on. Just want to look cool, you know. Just want to keep look cool, even when it's cold. Okay, so we are in Niger. Yes, Niger. We've spoken about Niger many times. I'm sure you're familiar with it by now. Lovely people. It's very hot in Niger. But I don't know how Basutu will do in Niger with their blankets. Will they survive? They're probably going to cook in Niger. Niger used to host many different countries, many different soldiers. There were French, 1,100 Americans, and Germans. So apparently all these people came because Niger was subjected to some sort of terrorism and they needed training from these nations. And America provided some training for Nigerian. Meanwhile, they built a $100 million base. Like, crazy. Who spends $100 million on help? Yeah, unless you got your own agenda. The Germans were there too. So very slowly, when the government changed in Niger, because this is the guy, Mohamed Bazoum, he used to be the president. People didn't like him very much because they felt like he was working for the interest of Western nation. Niger is a very rich country. It's got a lot of uranium. Uranium is what you need to create electricity. And also one of the main components you will need for the atomic bomb. This is the atomic bomb. Look at that. Boom. Yeah, that's the atomic bomb. That's what Americans threw in Japan to end the Second World War. Unaliving hundreds and thousands of people, probably millions of people. Crazy stuff. I'm not 100% sure. Like, yeah, military and civilians, babies, old people. I'm just saying. Anyway, let's get back on track. So Niger has the ability to furnish you with the necessary things that you need for the atomic bomb. And you know, today, countries that are respected are countries that have the atomic bomb. And that's one of the main reasons why they haven't attacked Russia, because of the atomic bomb. One of the main reasons why they haven't attacked North Korea, because of the atomic bomb. That's one of the main reasons why they haven't attacked Iran. Even though they're trying to play like they don't have, they do have. Anyway, let's continue. In Niger, they kicked out French soldiers. How did the French get there? The French got there many years ago. Niger was colonized by the French, and they ruled the country for many, many years. In the 1960s, the French went back to France. They say, okay, you little Africans, you can have your freedom and run your own country. Well, they say that hypothetically, but practically, they still ran the country, and the economy was held by the balls because the people of Niger were suffering. I mean, uranium is what you use to make electricity. But in the meantime, people of Niger slept with no electricity in the dark. Oh, darkness, my old friend.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
So the Nigerians are suffering. They don't have food, no water, no situation, but the country is rich. For people got very upset. They say, President, what are you doing? Why are all the Europeans making so much money out of your country? Enough. So they kicked out the president, not through elections, through arms. But it didn't hurt the president. The new group of people were soldiers. They took over the country. And then they asked French to come and have a discussion. French were like, okay, we're not going to talk to you. You're just a bunch of soldiers that come from the bush. We're not talking to you. Not knowing these people are very powerful. Then they kicked out French out of the country. Remember, there were French, Americans, and Germans. They kicked out the French because they were rude. I mean, how do you come to somebody's house and you don't want to talk? Like, I'm too busy, I can't talk to you. Like, come on. Who the hell are you? And even Macron said this. Macron said he's going to defend the interests of France in Niger. It's like saying, if you kick me out of your house, I'm going to come and defend my interests in your house.
Donc je pense que notre politique est la bonne.
I believe our policy is the correct one. It's based on the courage of President Bazoum, on the efforts of our diplomats and our ambassador in Niger, who will stay despite pressure from coup leaders. We do not recognize them. We support the president, who's not resigned.
Il n'a pas démissionné.
So I'm going to beat you up. It didn't sound quite right. Now, the civilians of Niger came down the street in millions asking the French soldiers to leave the country. That's eventually when they left. Americans were there. They didn't make much noise. They didn't condemn the action because they expected Nigerians to be nicer to them. After all, we haven't said any negative thing about you, so you're probably going to let us stay here with our 100 million base that we constructed without necessarily asking for your permission. But no, that didn't last very long, because when the Americans started criticizing Nigerians because Nigerians were talking to Iran, they accused Nigerians of selling uranium to Iran for Iran to make the atomic bomb. That wasn't even the truth. They were just going to have a discussion with a foreign companion or foreign probable friend. The Americans' diplomat didn't like the fact that the Nigerians, the prime minister, went to Iran to discuss with the Iranian prime minister. So he accused them of wanting to send uranium to Iran because Iran is banned. They expected the Nigerian to be scared, like to say, oh, no. We didn't go there to sell uranium, because that's what most Africans do. They'll say no, they will justify themselves. The Nigerian didn't do that. They said to them, you know what? You cannot tell us who to discuss with. You cannot tell us who are your friends or who going to be our friends. And we don't have to make friendship based on your friendship, because we are us. We are not you. You are not us. Anyway, I'm a bit lost. You understand what I mean? They ask Americans to leave. That's when Americans started leaving. But now the Germans said, just after they kicked out the French, the Germans say, you know what? We no longer want to cooperate militarily with Niger because of the lack of trust in the relationship. We see what Niger has done with the French nation and Western nation, so we cannot work with them.
We've seen that with a view towards the Russian role in Mali and now also in Niger, we weren't able to continue the supporting role that we'd taken on before in the area of security, in the field of policing, and also training within the MINUSMA UN mission, because the trust that existed before was no longer there.
When the Germans say that, then the Nigerians say, okay, in this case, you two can leave, by the way. Okay, pack your stuff and go. So the last 60 soldiers in the region have flown out of the army, now abandoned airbase in the capital in Germany last Friday. So they left. They are gone. 5 cargo planes carrying 60 German troops and 146 tons of equipment landed in Wundorf Air Base around 6:30 p.m. local time, where they were met with State Secretary of Defense Hilshammer. So what do you learn from this? Very clear. The Germans, after they heard that the Nigerian kicked out the French, they said to the Nigerian, you are not trustworthy anymore. We are not going to cooperate with you militarily. They were hoping Nigerians were going to change their rhetorics. Nigerians stood by themselves. Then the Germans cut ties. Nigerians say, okay, you can pack your stuff and leave. Sorry. For the European, if you break up with one of them, they break up with you. It's not like Africans. They go like, those ones are Mozambicans. Yeah, those ones are Zimbabweans. We are not the same. They are not our people. No. Europeans are not like that. I mean, you running to Europeans wanting to be one of them. You're not one of them. You can chant how much, I don't care how much you want to be one of them. Oh, we are one. No, you're not one people. I'm sorry. Practically, you're not. Yes, you must respect every human being. You must be good to every human being. You must be a decent human being. But policy-wise, you're not one of them. They will always prioritize one of them over you. And you can test it yourself. So yeah, congratulations. I feel like we need to say that. There's Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali. Remember these countries, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali. These countries are working very hard for their freedom. And because they're working very hard for their freedom, they are not lacked by Europeans anymore. So basically, European nations want you as an African country to just be mute, quiet. Don't say anything. Just be the nice little boy that doesn't say anything. You don't claim anything. You don't want no lights. You don't mind that they take your minerals and your resources and giving you just a little chunk of things that you do not necessarily deserve, because you deserve much better than that. They like that type of African. They don't like Africans that say, we know our right. They don't like those Africans say, okay, we can run our own industry ourselves. They want Africans that are dependent. They said it very clearly. The Swedish representative diplomat said, we need to move forward with people that need Europe. That's how they close embassies in Mali, close embassies in Niger and Burkina Faso. They said we're going to open embassies in Rwanda, embassies in Senegal and Nigeria. And yeah, you know what I mean? So because you guys want things that show that you don't need Europeans, we're going to go to other African nations and we're going to give them more than we ever gave you, so you can feel angry and regret your action. Sometimes, fellas, you better be hungry for 3 days and be happy forever. Don't live off crumbs forever. in a world where you are actually the boss. Let me know how you feel about this. Is this a good move? Is it good that the Germans are gone? Is it good that the Americans and the French are gone? Is Niger going to the gutters? The bottom line here is not to chase people. The bottom line is to have contract